Today's episode of Seahawks Today is brought to you by Manscaped. You can save 20% off, plus get free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use the promo code Seahawks. We'll tell you more about Manscaped coming up later on in the show. Surprise, surprise, on this episode of Seahawks Today, I'm examining the top 4 most pleasant surprises for your Seattle Seahawks to begin the season so far. Seahawks look pretty good to this point, right? And there's been some players that have stood out that maybe we weren't expecting to, that have done very well. It's a good thing. We'll examine those in just a matter of moments. Before we do, got a little thing that I want to put out there for the 12s. Seahawks, game back in the division, got a chance potentially to be tied for first place here in the next week or so if the Niners can lose and the Seahawks can keep on winning. You want the Seahawks to win the division? Like the video. Don't jinx it. Don't be that guy. Don't make me come find you because you didn't like today's video. Like the video, and we'll get started with today's show. Of course, I got to start off first and foremost with Devon Witherspoon. Who else but Devon Witherspoon? And you talk about a turn of events for Devon Witherspoon. Let's go back in time to the hot tub time machine a little bit to what has transpired with Devon Witherspoon over the last few months. Drafted number 5 overall, and that was a shocker. Most people did not expect the Seahawks to draft Devon Witherspoon. Goes through camp, looks really good in OTAs and rookie minicamp and all that. And then, once training camp was about to start, he was holding out. He did not like the situation that John Schneider and company was putting him in, wanting him to not take all the guaranteed money right now, the signing bonus stuff, right? And that rubs some folks the wrong way. Eventually shows up, gets, starting to feel into his own, has the hamstring injury, misses quite a bit of time, and ultimately missed the season opener. And since then, Devon Witherspoon has just looked spectacular. And it doesn't matter where they put him on the field. Whether we've seen him on the outside, the inside, this guy's making plays. He's doing a great job in coverage. He's doing a great job at going after the quarterback. And the thing about Devon Witherspoon, too, above all of that, is he's getting better every single week. And so while the Seahawks have had some injuries in that cornerback room, when you talk about Trey Brown, Artie Burns, Reek Woolen was out for a period of time. Remember back in all that? Here they are, and they have plenty of options. Mike Jackson stepped up a bit too. So Devon Witherspoon, whatever is asked of him, I forgot about Kobe Bryant as well. So many. Whatever is asked of him, I trust Devon Witherspoon to get the job done, and he's just getting started, folks. He and Reek together for years to come. How could you not get excited? How could you not get pumped up about that? Because I certainly am. What's been your biggest surprise from the Seahawks season so far to this point? There's a lot of things we could point to so far this year. Get in that comment section, answer our pinned comment today, and let us know what your biggest surprise is. Number 2, got to talk about Jordyn Brooks. Now, this is the ultimate surprise when we talk about Brooksy here. His story, to kind of recap where he came from, had the just awful ACL injury at the end of last year, and the hope was that he would be back at some point this year, recovering from that ACL injury. And what do you know? Not only did Jordyn Brooks get healthy again, he was back in time for the start of the season, which just seemed impossible. 8 months removed from an ACL tear, and he's back on the football field in full strength. So just for him to be playing right now is a heck of an accomplishment. But then the other things as well. We've seen him pick up 41 tackles. He's got 2 sacks. He's never been known to be much of a pass rusher, and yet we've seen that develop in his game. He's got 3 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble recovery, and, although his role was somewhat reduced, remember, he's not the green dot anymore. He's not the signal caller on defense. That role went back to Bobby Wagner again, and rightfully so. Nobody's complaining about that. But here he was. He took a step back, right, to Bobby's return. And yet that hasn't backed Jordyn Brooks down. Remember, the Seahawks declined his 5th-year option as well. He's played with a chip on his shoulder, something to prove. And we've seen Jordyn Brooks play phenomenal. And I've been very impressed. He's had a good attitude about everything. I think he and Bobby are good complements to each other as well. Watch out. I'm very excited for Jordyn Brooks, and it's been a huge compliment to the Seahawks defense to have Jordyn Brooks to be available and to play at the level that he's been at so far this season to this point. Today's show, we are brought to you by Manscaped, who has taken a step up from ball O'Ween to bring your face the cleanest shave it's ever seen. Get the sweetest treat this Halloween by going to manscaped.com and use code Seahawks for 20% off plus free shipping. Are you tired of bad razors making your neck look like a scary movie? With the Handyman skin-safe technology to help reduce nicks and cuts, you can finally feel confident when going for that close shave. And for my wolfmen with a little more scruff, Manscaped's Beard Hedger Pro Kit has everything you need to tame your mane. Go to manscaped.com, use code Seahawks for 20% off plus free shipping. That's manscaped.com, code Seahawks for 20% off plus free shipping. Let's talk about Stone Forsythe now. And I got to tell you, I really like what I've seen from Stone Forsythe. And you talk about surprises and the unexpected. Stone Forsythe is one of those things. If you go back to a couple weeks ago, remember the situation the Seahawks found themselves in. As we saw Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas go down week one against the Los Angeles Rams. Stone Forsythe comes in. We also see on the other side Jake Curhan come in and replace those two guys. And let's just be clear, it did not go well. They struggled. It was full-on panic mode. What does this Seahawks team do from here with those issues? And they brought in Jason Peters. They were trying everything. And went into that next week against Aiden Hutchinson and the Lions. Just everybody like, oh, no, this can't be good, right? And then they worked through these things. Stone and Jake held up their own, in particular Stone specifically on that left tackle side. A lot of pressure there. Has only allowed 2 sacks at this point. I've been very impressed. And think about this, okay? You got through the 3-game winning streak now. You head into the bye week. And we were hoping, like, okay, maybe this is the week Charles Cross comes back. That never happened. Abraham Lucas, of course, went to the PUP list. And they still found a way to get through this adversity with these guys stepping up and answering the call here. Credit where credit's due. And if you look at the issues that the Seahawks have had in this 3-game stretch, the things that they've had to overcome, some of the things that you've looked at, the offensive line has held up. They've done a very good job these last few weeks, and it's not the biggest issue concerning the Seattle Seahawks right now. That says a lot about Stone Forsythe and the way that he stepped up with the way things were going and how it looked, and to know that his career potentially was on the line, because if he couldn't do a good job then where else was he going to go? So Stone Forsythe deserves a lot of credit. He's done a terrific job. One more name to get to in a moment, but first, grade the Seahawks start to 2023. A, B, C, D, or F. I would give it about a B+ personally. I think A's are for perfect grades. They're not perfect. They have a loss on their record. But I think 3-1 is what we anticipated. Maybe not a loss to the Rams to start the year, but 3-1 feels pretty good. What's your grade? Grade it for me in the comment section. Let us know. Last on the list for the Seahawks is Olu Oluwatimi. Olu has been fantastic. And to kind of tell you his story of what Olu has been through, you go back to he was drafted out of Michigan, shows up, goes through OTAs and camp and all that, and Olu got attention right away with how he performed. And there was rumblings like, could he be a starter? Could be get some first-team reps potentially? Pete Carroll then said, no. Evan Brown's our guy. We paid Evan Brown. He's going to be the first-teamer, but don't sleep on Olu. He's a very good football player. Well, then you have injuries on the offensive line. You shift Evan Brown over to left guard, and Olu then slides into the center spot, and they didn't miss a beat. Olu and Gino were on the same page. He has done a really good job. Hasn't even allowed a single sack in the 3 games he's played. And, with Evan Brown, he's kind of year by year. He's a veteran, right? Olu you're going to have for a long time. As a rookie player coming in, I'm excited to see what Olu brings to the table for many years to come. This has been great to see him start off his NFL career with such a strong start and looking like a veteran the way he's played to this point. And the offensive line as a whole just holding up these last few weeks. Credit where credit's due. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of Seahawks Today. Hit that like button if you want the Seahawks to win the NFC West. And we will see you next time right here on Seahawks Today.